Ellen Cruz is joining us tonight. Ellen is the Regional Director for Southwest Florida for FDACS, and her boss is Commissioner Wilton Simpson. And I've invited Ellen to join us tonight to give us more of an overview of FDACS. So I'll turn it over to you to do more of a personal introduction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Greeter. Thank you guys all for having me. Kudos to having Kirby. He is a professional when it comes to fruit and vegetable and what he does. So he can explain that far better than I ever could. And I do have fruit and vegetable as one of my slides tonight, so we won't spend a lot of time on it since you guys did get a very in-depth overview of that already. Let's see here. I'm going to try to share my screen with you guys. This can always be a little bit of a trial and error, but we'll do our best here. Okay. Can everyone see my presentation okay there?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, well, today, Dr. Greeter has asked me to come and speak to you all about what FDACS is, what our purpose is, and how what we do can apply to what you want to do. From my understanding, you are all first generation small farmer startups. And first and foremost, want to thank you for the interest in getting involved in agriculture. It is a shrinking area of our economy, and more we need to be able to encourage those who have interest to get involved and to stay involved in agriculture, because we need to protect our food source and be able to focus on what Florida can do well. Agriculture is still the second driver of the Florida economy, right behind tourism. So it does not get left behind there, but we certainly, when the consumers go to the grocery store, oftentimes, we have the misconception that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. So thank you guys for coming to listen to us tonight. And hopefully you'll learn a little bit. I like to say that I know a little bit about a lot. And so if you have any questions at the very end and I cannot answer them tonight, I will get those answers for you and get them back to you as quickly as possible. First thing that I want to do tonight is introduce you to our, let me see here. There we go. Our Ag Commissioner, Wilton Simpson. Commissioner Simpson was elected November of last year to be the 13th Commissioner of Agriculture, and he is a fifth-generation Floridian born right here in the Sunshine State. What makes Commissioner Simpson very unique in his role, and it should not be unique, but it is that he has a strong ag background himself. He spent 40 years as a professional in the large-scale egg-laying operation world that supplied eggs to families across the state. So at one time, he had over 1 million chickens on his operation, and he does not have that operation today, but he still is very involved in the decision-making, and he did sell his operation to Cal-Maine Foods, who is the #1 egg producer in the nation. So they are still in full operation, contributing to the local economy right there in Pasco County and making a large impact. During his first legislative session as Commissioner of Agriculture, Commissioner Simpson made great strides to support Florida's farmers, consumers, and those who work each day to protect them. Securing the future of Florida agriculture, prioritizing Florida-grown food, defending Second Amendment rights, and most importantly, defining agriculture as a national security issue in Florida were among his top priorities upon taking office. From 2012 to 2022, Commissioner Simpson served as a member of the Florida Senate and was actually the Senate president from 2020 to 2022. Serving as Senate president through a worldwide pandemic came with many unique challenges, but Commissioner Simpson fought to keep Florida open and free and to ensure that Florida was a beacon of hope, opportunity, and freedom for generations to come. Throughout his tenure in the Senate, Commissioner Simpson was a staunch advocate for Florida agriculture and our proud farmers and ranchers. Commissioner Simpson was instrumental in securing historic funding for the industry and crucial protections like the Right to Farm Act and the Florida Wildlife Corridor Act. Because Dr. Greeter did mention the Right to Farm Act earlier, I did want to take a moment to share a little bit about that. If you are not aware of the Right to Farm Act, it is very important to you and what it means to farm. With the Right to Farm Act that was signed into law in 2021, it protects farmers from lawsuits and nuisance claims. And if someone wants to sue you for an issue pertaining to your farming operation, they must live within 1 mile of your farm. And then when you win that lawsuit, because more than likely you will, they will have to pay all of your legal fees. So it really helps control the number of opinions outside of your farming operation and allows you to do what you do and protects you while you're doing it. Next, I'd like to talk about what the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services is. So as I said, the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, which I will then refer to it as FDACS. It supports and promotes Florida agriculture, protects the environment, safeguards consumers, and ensures the safety and wholesomeness of food. Our programs and activities are so varied and extensive that they touch the life of just about every Floridian. One way that we touch every life of Floridians is through our 19 divisions. This isn't a very pretty slide, but I just wanted to show you exactly what those 19 divisions are. We fall from administration to general counsel, all the way to Department of Energy, Forestry Services, ag law, food safety, plant industry, and also our Office of the Commissioner, who I work directly with in Tallahassee. I'm not going to touch on every single all 19 of those divisions, but I do want to highlight a few of them and a few of the programs that we have in the department that I feel like are most important to you. I'd first like to start by sharing a little bit about Fresh from Florida. It is our Florida marketing campaign when it comes to Florida grown food and fiber. And just to give you kind of a look into ways that we are helping farmers, I'd like to play a little video for you highlighting some strawberry growers right here in Hillsborough County. So very local to you.
Ellen, we're not hearing the sound. So when you share the video, there should be a sound button in Zoom.
See here.
And there's a little clicker button that you should be able to click, a little radio button to click, and then that will let us hear the sound on Zoom.
Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Where did you say that was?
When you share the video,
okay,
on the sharing screen, it should say, click this little button for the sound.
I am no professional when it comes to this. I apologize to you all.
Anybody else have some good advice here on getting the sound? I think there's a little button you need to click when you share the presentation.
Sometimes it's like the settings in the computer, the actual mic on the computer is down.
Well, I think we can hear her mic.
Mine, yeah, I have mine all the way up.
If you go back out, stop sharing.
Yes, sir.
If you can stop sharing, now share your presentation, and when the screen pops up, there should be a little button that says share sound as you try to share the screen.
Yes, got it.
There we go.
Got it.
That should do it.
Okay.
Famous last words.
Let's see if it'll let me go back now. One moment. So sorry. Okay, back to it. Okay, can you guys see my screen again?
Yes,
Okay.
there we go. Good.
My name is Madison Aston,
And my name is Peyton Aston.
and we're fourth-generation farmers at Aston Farms. Our farm consists of 1,400 acres in Plant City, Florida, and Wimauma, Florida. As long as we can remember, I think that strawberries have been a part of our life. My great-grandfather moved to Plant City in the early 1920s, and he started growing strawberries. My grandfather also grew strawberries, and then my dad followed in his footsteps. I feel extremely proud and honored to work with my dad.
To be a part of something that has been going on for so long and being able to carry that tradition on is just very special to me.
Putting fresh food on people's tables in our country is why we do what we do.
We're the Astons.
And we grow your strawberries fresh from Florida.
So just an example of some of the growers who have chosen to partner with us to help promote their food. Commissioner Simpson has allocated historical funding for this program in hopes of making it the top marketing form used by Florida farmers and to promote Florida grown food and fiber outside of our state. Fresh from Florida partners with more than 100 retailers, which operate more than 12,000 stores to achieve a nationwide reach. Our research has shown us that 9 out of 10 consumers are more likely to buy a product with the Fresh from Florida label, and that 83% of consumers are willing to pay more for a product when they see the label. So really just hones in the fact that people do want to know where their food comes from, and they want to be able to recognize that on a locally grown standpoint. It was announced this week that Publix will be teaming up with Fresh from Florida in their Publix Love Your Local campaign during the coming year. They will use brand signage and social media to tout Florida grown red grapefruit, oranges, tangerines, leafy greens, radishes, stone crabs, pink shrimp, and other commodities. To give you a little bit of an idea, Fresh from Florida has membership programs. So our logo incentive program is for eligible members. The FDACs will reimburse 50% of printing costs up to $1,500 and qualifying vehicle wraps up to $500. Members can apply for the program annually and limited funds are available, but we have never capped that. So don't let that scare you. Reimbursements will be distributed on a first come, first serve basis. So that is for when you're in the store and you see the clamshell or any type of packaging that has that Fresh from Florida logo on it. They are part of that logo incentive program, promoting us as a marketing company, but also allowing that brand recognition to stand for what they are doing as well. Another form is the industry membership. So one portion of the industry membership is a $50 a year paid membership. This is for a producer you pick, broker, repacker, pretty much these are our main ag producers. And the non-paid membership would be more for our nonprofit educational organizations, retailers, grocery stores, roadside produce stands, anywhere where we can get the message out. We want to make sure that they have the industry membership to be able to use the logo still and be able to create that brand recognition on a larger scale. Some other fun facts: the paid membership also comes with the $50 a year. So it's for $50, they will help you create a logo for your company as well. So Say I decide to start growing strawberries myself and I need help designing a logo. We have a team of highly qualified professionals who are graphic designers. People pay thousands of dollars to have a logo designed. We'll do it for your $50 a year annual membership. So little perks like that really add up. We want to use it as a promotion tool for you and to allow your products to stand for themselves while also creating that brand recognition that I keep talking about. The first office that I would like to talk about is our Office of Agricultural Water Policy. The director of this office is West Gregory. I've put his name and his email here if you have any interest in reaching out to him. But just to highlight what ag policy does, they work with agricultural producers, industry groups, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, university system, and the Florida Water Management District to develop and implement agricultural best management practices, addressing both water quality and water conservation. If you haven't already heard about best management practices, I'm sure you will. This is BMPs are practical, cost-effective actions that agricultural producers can take to conserve water and reduce the amount of fertilizers and animal waste and other pollutants entering our water resources. So our ag water policy field staff works one-on-one with producers to develop a feasible BMP plan, identifying the BMPs that are applicable on their operations, and their funding is largely for cost share of equipment purchases. So cost share funding falls under three broad categories: nutrient management, irrigation management, and water resource protection. Examples of funded equipment for approved nutrient management include conservation tillage equipment, GPS guidance systems, variable rate applicators, and fertilizers banding machines for side dressing. To improve irrigation efficiency, they provide cost share for soil moisture sensors, irrigation retrofits, nozzle packages, smart irrigation control panels, and more. BMPs for water resource protection include cattle exclusion fences and alternate water sources like solar wells, among others. FDACS funds up to 75% of the equipment cost, which they reimburse once the producer purchases the item. In most cases, the cost share reimbursement cap is $50,000. Cost share is distributed on a case-by-case basis, and producers must enroll in the BMP program to receive funds. Applications for BMPs are accepted year-round. You may hear in Sarasota County about a BMAP. If you are in the BMAP, which is pretty small in Sarasota County, you are required to enroll in BMPs. So anybody outside of that BMAP is doing the enrollment on a volunteer basis at this time. Dr. Greeter mentioned aquaculture a little bit earlier, and aquaculture is one of my favorite divisions that we have just because of the diversity that it offers, from working with great organizations like Moat Marine to helping our tropical aquaculture research lab right in Baum, all the way up to the Big Bend Panhandle area where we get some of our best shellfish and other great fish-like commodities. This division is responsible for implementing the Florida Aquaculture Policy Act, and it's developing and reinforcing regulations, government commercial aquaculture, leasing of coastal state submerged land for aquacultural purposes, providing contacts for financial, educational, and technical assistance to Florida aqua farmers, certifying and inspecting shellfish processing plants, classifying and monitoring shellfish harvesting areas, and supporting the Aquaculture Review Council. Recently, our Division of Aquaculture teamed up with the IFAS Tropical Aquaculture Lab in Ruskin to hold the Aquaculture Education Training Workshop for teachers kindergarten through 12th grade. They awarded 6 recirculating aquaculture systems, as well as a number of supplementary aquaponics system supplies to schools throughout the state to help promote education about aquaculture and get kids excited about spending time in those areas for years to come. Our Division of Animal Industry, who is supported by the director, Dr. Michael Short, they're pretty busy. They spend their time and they're responsible for enforcing animal health regulations in Florida and protecting the state from animal pests and disease. District veterinarians and animal health inspectors throughout the state work with producers, animal owners, and private veterinarians to monitor and enhance the health and welfare of Florida's animals. And under Florida's Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, we serve as the lead agency for animal and agricultural issues, planning and coordinating the state's response to emergencies ranging from hurricanes to animal disease outbreaks. You may also see some of these inspectors at your local cattle sales, at your fairs, making sure that everything is running properly and there's no disease or anything that needs to be reported, making sure that everyone is staying safe, that animals are safe as well, and that we are taking care of our food supply. I will not get too far into this one since you guys had such a deep dive with our friend Kirby, but did want to highlight the Division of Fruit and Vegetables led by Director Lisa Jensen. This division is expansive, so I'm so glad that Kirby was able to talk to you. One of the coolest things that I have been able to do recently is go out with a lot of these inspectors and some of these individuals, farms, to the ranches to be able to see what they do on a regular basis. I went out with Kirby to a hydroponic lettuce farm not too long ago. And what we did was we just went through and did a mock audit for them before the USDA came in, helped highlight any issues that we saw, and allowed those producers to prepare in the best way when the USDA did come in and regulate what they were doing. So helped them catch anything ahead of time and make sure that they pass that inspection with flying colors. So they do a lot on their end and we are very proud of them. One of the interesting aspects of our department that a lot of people, even though it's in our title, overlook is that we are also the Division of Consumer Services. This is led by Rick Kimsley, and we are the state's clearinghouse for consumer complaints, information, and protection. So we regulate various businesses such as motor vehicle repair shops, charitable organizations, pawnbrokers, health studios, sellers of travel, interstate movers, professional surveyors and mappers, sweepstake giveaway promotions, and telemarketers. So if you thought that we just did ag, we do way more. And for you, you might be able to thank this division when you go to your grocery stores at checkout, at any of your weigh stations going down the highway, and at the gas pump when you're filling up, because they are responsible to put all of those little logos that you see with the FDAX symbol on them on all of those scales. So we are really proud of what they do. It's very expansive, and you can yourself submit any inquiries or anything through the consumer services, and we will make sure it gets addressed as efficiently as possible. One of our programs that we are very, very proud of, and something that we did not create this program by any means, but what we did was we were able to bring it back this year. It is the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program, currently under Director Sue Mullins. And this program, which was established in 2001, has successfully acquired conservation easements on nearly 69,000 acres of working agricultural lands to date. In May, the governor and cabinet approved the preservation of over 18,000 acres of working agricultural land through cost-effective conservation easements totaling over $57 million. So to give you kind of a background, the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program, this was, it began in 2001 under the department, but has never gotten the type of funding or attention as it has until now. Commissioner Simpson, when he was in the Senate, actually worked to get $300 million appropriated for the program, so that when he stepped in as Commissioner of Ag, we knew that there was $300 million to spend. Right now, we are trying to get through that $300 million as quickly as possible. And currently, the selection committee is considering over 200 new applications that were filled in July of this year alone. With more inventory than resources, Commissioner Simpson has announced that we will be requesting an additional $300 million for the program in the 2024 legislative session. So I know a gentleman asked earlier about some of these conservation easements and how they can be turned into working lands again. This is actually a program that it is structured around purchasing the development rights of the land. So all we are doing is purchasing those development rights, and the landowner continues to work their operation as they normally would, also allowing them to benefit the local economy by staying on the tax roll. As many of these conservation easements, as soon as they sell, they're taken off the tax roll. So it goes back into the local economy, allows farmers to keep doing what they're doing without the pressures of development and other encroaching things coming onto their property. So allowing our farmers, supporting them, and letting them do what they would like to do, protecting it, letting it be a lasting impact for generations to come, as the development rights are secured for the lifetime of the property itself. The application cycle for this program was only open for a short time in July, but should be open back next year around the same time. So if you are interested in the program, I'd be more than happy to put you in contact with our director. I am actually working on the selection committee currently, and so it's been very rewarding to get to meet with a lot of these farms, to get to see exactly what we are protecting, and the preservation of a generation that we are able to say that will continue on because of the development rights being bought from these properties and allowing us to keep doing what we're doing. So all of that, I never like to talk about myself, but I will end it by just kind of explaining who I am and what I do. So I serve as a regional director for the Office of the Commissioner within the Florida Department of Agriculture. I am proud to serve 9 counties, which is comprised of Polk, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota, Hardee, DeSoto, Charlotte, and Lee. I understand the vast differences from the Florida Panhandle to the Florida Keys, and we have a team of 5 regional directors dedicated to serving each unique area of the state. As a regional director for Commissioner Wilton Simpson, my responsibility is to serve as a liaison between the commissioner and those who are the backbone of this great state, ranging from producers to consumers. I want to reassure you that your voice is heard, and with a boots on the ground approach, I am able to relay your concerns to those in Tallahassee in real time. In my role, I serve you as a resource to assist you with your needs as they relate to agriculture and consumer services. And unlike the majority of our department, which is up in Tallahassee, I get to live where I work. So I am based in Lakeland, Florida, and I am down your way all the time. So more than happy to come in and meet with you, try to advise any way that I can, connect you with these programs that I've talked about today, and really encourage you to stay involved in ag and support you in the best way. So are there any questions?
Ellen, as the rest of them are coming up with some questions, now you talked about the rural lands program and the conservation easements. So Ryan had asked earlier about availability of some of these lands for, say, an existing rancher owner to lease it to someone else. Can you say more about what restrictions there are? As long as it's an agricultural use, is it okay and they have the freedom to do that?
So right now, I do not know of any conservation easement programs that will allow you to lease back. Now, I mean, we could talk all day about the different conservation easement programs that are available. You have conservation easements through Florida Forever, the Wildlife Corridor. Sarasota County has its own program of conservation easements. The state has separate conservation easements. Many of the ones that you see that are state regulated are just that. So they are purchased and the land sits in the way it is. It is a large cost to our state to maintain those lands, and often they get neglected because of that. So our department does feel like that would be a great solution to those working lands, is to be able to incorporate them back into ag and allow those who do that well to be able to lease it. But it is not currently available. And I don't know what that looks like going forward.
Any other questions for Ellen? I will drop into the chat box the link for the grants that you mentioned. And my experience is that the FDAC system for applying, for getting the grant, for administering it, record keeping, is a little bit more amenable to the farmers and ranchers than the NRCS system, USDA, and other granting agencies. So I encourage you all to take a look at what's available there and to see if there's something that fits for you. As Ellen mentioned, there's a cost share that's very generous that you might be eligible for. There's also a pretty high cap on how much money you can get through these programs, and things like Ellen described the Fresh from Florida. It's a great opportunity to help with marketing, with logo development. I wasn't even aware that your membership gets you access to logo development. That's pretty cool. So Ellen, any other comments on some of the grant programs that these people might be interested in? What are some of the eligibility requirements? I assume they have to be an active commercial farmer already, or can they be a beginning farmer?
Yes. So we like to look at all types of backgrounds. The application will, and you will be able to detail your operations, exactly what your motive is on that. A lot of the, when it comes to the actual irrigation and water use and whatnot, they will look at the, if the land is designated agricultural, wanting to make sure that the county has designated that area for farming and whatnot. But definitely encourage you to apply to those programs. I think they are, the details of them are very specific on the website, but should help you in any way. Also, I know Patricia Hobson is your local ag water policy representative down in Sarasota County. So we can definitely get you guys in touch with her as well to give you guys a little bit more of a detailed look at that as well. One thing that I left out and I shouldn't have, and I apologize to you all, is that this past legislative session, we passed what is going to be called as the Florida Team Card. So what that means for you as a producer is there are 29 exemptions for agricultural products currently throughout the state of Florida, but there's a very burdensome paper process that requires you to fill out a bunch of paperwork, take it in to get your tax exempt from those products. What the Team Card is going to allow you to do is to apply using your agricultural operation through the Department of Revenue. You'll get a card that kind of looks like a driver's license, so you can place it right into your wallet. And then from there, you'll be able to show that card to any of your vendors whenever you're, or retailers when you're going out to purchase products for your operation. And they have a QR code on them that they'll be able to scan very easily, verify that you are good to go, and they'll take that tax right off. So the card will be good. It's going to be, applications open on January 1st of 2024. And then that card will be good for 5 years. So you shouldn't have to worry about redoing it for another 5 years. We'll make sure that you're reminded when that 5 years rolls around, but just really going to make it a little bit easier for you and convenient.
And speaking as someone who farmed for 14 years, and every time I went to purchase something, had to confirm my tax exempt ID at every store, every purchase. This is really something. This is great to hear this, and I hope that everyone has taken advantage of it. I dropped a link into the chat box explaining some more information about this program, so I strongly encourage you to take advantage of this. Any other questions for Ellen about what FDAX is all about and how they can help you? Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I wanted to kind of piggyback on that thing about the conservation lands, and just to kind of give the idea. I live in Sarasota County, and sort of the thing I worry about is we have a lot of development in Sarasota County, and I worry about losing some, what I would call government support for ag. Just because there's a 5-acre plot I saw, I granted it's in Manatee County, but it's 5 acres and they want 15 million for a 5-acre plot. I mean, that's why I ask about this sort of conservation land, because I think there's something like 2.4 million acres of conservation land, and that's out of play basically for us. So we have that, and then we have everybody else that realizes I got a big tract of land, I can make a lot of money. So I'm farming on my 10 acres, but like I have to deal with the board of directors at my house on how big my production can be. So I'm sure everybody else is familiar with that. And the idea of buying farmland, you know, it's hard because we have real jobs too. And to have to buy out and say Venus, Florida, or, you know, Apopka or something like that. And then there's an hour drive to your land. And then you got to leave that while you're working 40 hours a week. And then there's just a whole bunch of issues that we common folk, I guess, have.
I absolutely agree with you. And I would recommend, I know that Dr. Creator mentioned earlier, the Florida Farm Bureau. The Florida Farm Bureau is, their logo or their motto is they are the voice of agriculture. And so what they believe in is that they need to speak up for those who don't have the platform, give them the platform to speak for themselves and to advocate for those direct needs of their operations and what you're talking about. Preserving ag lands, making sure that we have what we need to carry on and be able to support from first generation small farmers on 2 acres to 20,000 acres. We want to have a voice for everybody. And I will say that they have a very strong relationship with your county commissioners and those who are the decision makers for your county directly. So if you would like contact information, I'm good friends with the president of the Sarasota County Farm Bureau. He would love to, no pressure to sign up or anything. He would just be wanting to have a conversation, see how he can help you. The membership is just a perk at the end of the day. So any way that they can serve you and give you a voice on a local level, we have we listen to and we definitely stay up to date on county issues and when it comes, but when we like to make the counties make the decisions for themselves and allow them to have their them to have their independence to a certain extent. So we don't do any ruling when it comes to telling them what they can do with their properties, but definitely encourage you to be on a platform that would allow you to voice those opinions.
And I did drop the link to their Facebook page if you want to follow them, just to keep up on what they're doing. But they are, as Ellen said, a strong advocate for agriculture in the county. I work closely with them all the time. They are serving the lunch for our Farm and Ranch bus tour on November 17th. We'll be at their site for lunch. And we are doing our Youth Agriculture Safety Day at the Farm Bureau site in Sarasota on February the 3rd. So they are very open to working with us and helping spread the word, and a strong advocate. So if you got an issue, absolutely take it to the Farm Bureau and they'll listen, as will Ellen and Commissioner Simpson.
Yes, and to be clear too, Ryan, I want to make sure you know that I will be telling our commissioner that about your opinion about those conservation easements needing to return to ag lands, because as much support as we can get on that issue, the better. And so hearing that from you and the need there will help support that cause. So thank you for sharing that.
And
I live
also
in Mayaca Ranches, and when I moved to Mayaca Ranches, you could go from I-75 down Clark Road. Once you got past like Hope Road, wherever, it would be just clear land. And then you get to the Veterans Cemetery, and now it's like Sky Ranch is there, and then the extension. And now what used to be a straight road has 2 roundabouts, and and slowly the city's creeping out to where like it used to be affordable land. And yeah, like right across from me that butts up to the Mayaca Valley Ranch is an unbelievable amount of land. But I just look at that as like there's a little church on Clark Road that is now surrounded by Sky Ranch, and it's hard because, you know, you've got the conservation on one side, and I love the environment. I want to save it and all that, but like, I do want to operate it within the environment, and it just, I'm sure everybody here would love to be able to have a little bit more land, or a little bit, maybe not have so many HOA regulations limiting what you can do, and all that. So
We hear you. You're preaching to the choir. So, okay, thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you for taking some time tonight to tell us about all the great things that are going on at FDAX, and we appreciate your representation.
Thank you for having me, and please share my contact information with your members. I'd love to be in contact. Anything you guys need, I'm more than happy to assist any way I can.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, folks, let's take about a 10-minute break. So let's be back at 7:55, and I see our second speaker hasn't joined us yet. So I'm going to see what's going on there, see if we've got a mix up. But let's get back together at 7:55. 7:55.
I have a quick question about just like bringing stuff internally, like for my eggs, like, I don't know, somehow like bringing the carton design or whatever in-house or stuff like that. Like, is there like a farmer besides Amazon, like something that more is in tune with what we do? As I don't know, I feel
You're
kind of
talking
stupid at this point.
for marketing support and graphic
Not
design,
so much like
packaging.
like I have these egg cartons everywhere, but they say like Flock Party, delicious eggs from Tractor Supply, you know. And
Yeah.
if I could have, you know, I don't know, outside of ordering something from Montana or something, and it just, is there, maybe I should just push the button on the fresh from Florida.
Yeah, I'd say check out what's available there. They can help with, as Ellen said, some logo design, some graphic design. In terms of packaging, I don't know that there's a one-stop shop that focuses on agriculture. I'm not aware of anything. It would be nice if there was.
I got you. Well, thank you.
Okay, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next week.